This is genuinely an insane take, as new details have just dropped about Trae Young's preferred trade destination. A former NBA player suggested that Rafael Stone and the Houston Rockets should take action in getting the blockbuster star. And we're going to get to all of those details right here on Rockets Digest. Hello, everybody. I am your host, Donovan Ricondo, and we're going to get straight into it today. It is about Trae Young. As many of you know, he is on the trading block. There's interest from both Trae Young and Atlanta to ship him out of the Hawks organization. And just today, there was a brand new update of a preferred trade destination, and that is the Washington Wizards. Sources tell ESPN, and Atlanta is working to move Young, who has a $49 million player option in the offseason that would make him an expiring contract, or opt out, leave, and give Hawks significant cap space. So that news is coming out from ESPN. But a former NBA player suggests that the Houston Rockets should do something about acquiring Trae Young. And that former player, Kenyon Martin, went on Gil's Arena and kind of stated his case as to why this should be the case for the Houston Rockets. And this is what he said. Before we get into all the news today, this video is brought to you by Kalshi. When you download Kalshi using the link below and enter code DIGESTNBA, you'll get $20 when you trade your first $100. Kalshi is the largest prediction market in the United States. On their platform, you can trade yes, no on real-life events, sports, news, and pretty much everything. And whether you're in California, Texas, or anywhere across the country, it does not matter because Kalshi is live in all 50 states. And for sports fans, you can trade on game outcomes, playoff chances, or player performances, all on a regulated market where you can cash out at any time. And as far as the Houston Rockets, you can go and trade on their win total for this season. I love the 55-plus wins for the Houston Rockets this year, as well as things like who you think will come out on top in the Western Conference. The Houston Rockets have the third best odds as of right now, and it's genuinely a smarter way to use your sports or news knowledge, and you can close positions whenever you want. Download Kalshi with the link in the description, and don't forget to use the code DIGESTNBA to get your $20 bonus. And thank you once again to Kalshi for sponsoring this video. Now let's get right back to it. And it was quite something to behold as he went on and said he said a bunch of trades that would just not mathematically happen. He said a lot of things that the NBA would not approve of because of the salaries that would not match and what has to take place for a trade to even happen. But finally, he did end up with one. He was pro trading for Trae Young, and he said Fred VanVleet, Reed Sheppard, a pick, and Jabari Smith for Trae Young, and then he said an expletive to cap that off. And it said that one works mathematically, right? When you put the numbers together of what has to come out and what has to come in, VanVleet, Sheppard, a pick, and Jabari Smith for Trae Young was the trade that he had suggested. However, VanVleet does have the ability to veto the deal due to his implied no trade clause, so it's not guaranteed to work. VanVleet himself can block it. And if you even try to trade VanVleet and he sees that and he blocks it, you're just going to cause some not needed drama, or, why even put him on the trade block when you don't necessarily need Trae Young? And I say that, very cautiously because, yes, there is still not exactly a starting point guard in terms of how other teams would describe, right? Yes, you still have Amen Thompson and Reed Sheppard in the backup role. Of course, Fred VanVleet's out the entire season, but still, I don't think this is a necessity for this team. And as the Rockets seem to think that as well, reportedly there is no interest in pursuing a Trae Young trade. I really believe that is the right thing to do, or to not do, right? I don't think this team needs to go out and make this blockbuster thing happen. Naturally, there is still time until the trade deadline. If you really needed to, then by all means go ahead and do so. But I've seen no indication from this squad, which currently sits as a 5th seed in the Western Conference, for them to make this happen. I just don't see it in the cards for the Houston Rockets. And I'm glad they're not interested, because this team has proven to be a team that can win a championship as is. And there's no need to get rid of some of your great role players like Jabari Smith, who I absolutely love, like Reed Sheppard, who is having himself a very good year. And I think that is where it all comes down to, right? Is Reed Sheppard's numbers this year is what you're going to be using in comparison. This is only his 2nd year. He's in his sophomore year. He's doubling the amount of minutes that he has played. Of course, that is probably due to VanVleet not being able to play as much minutes this year. But Sheppard has improved drastically. He is averaging 13 points per game as opposed to 4.4 last year. He is shooting 41% from 3. That is amazing. That is great. Again, he is only in his 2nd year, and so that in itself, to me, is just signs of improvement that I would not want to give up quite yet. There's a reason why you went out and you drafted this
Before we
guy,
get in,
3rd overall in the NBA draft, 2 years ago, right? He is the guy that you want to keep on this squad. He's a great shooter. He has proven that he would be a great shooter, and so I say keep him, keep Jabari, still keep VanVleet. I know it hurts that VanVleet is not going to be on this team this year, but next year I can just see it already how much of an impact he would be able to make, and how better the team would get when they have their first sure starter in that position, rather than trading everybody for Trae Young, who again is a very talented player. I do think he's one of the best players in the NBA, one of the greatest shooters in the NBA today. But at the same time, I don't think this is a move that the Houston Rockets have to make. To me, that would just be a panic move, right? And there's no really need for panic when you see that this team is doing, pretty well from themselves. Of course, they have a pretty tough schedule ahead of them. They got the Portland Trail Blazers today on a back-to-back, playing them again on the 9th. And again, you play those tougher teams within the next month without Alperen Şengün, and so it's a question of this team. Can they kind of find their way without Şengün, find their way still without VanVleet for the entire year? And I just personally don't think this team needs to make any more moves when you have a guy like Reed Sheppard, who's contributing more than many expected, right? And he has been doing his part in terms of, being a solid backup and being a solid player to come off the bench and kind of give Ime Udoka and the team the minutes that he that he earns, quite frankly. And so I just don't see anything happening from a trade standpoint from the Rockets, at least not now or in the near future. I think this team is pretty set as it is for how they are operating. I like what I'm seeing. Of course, it's very close with all these teams in the Western Conference. Every game matters, including again against the Portland Trail Blazers, a team that has beaten some of the top teams in the Western Conference. So do not take them lightly. I cannot stress that enough. But I am very interested in what you guys think about a Trae Young coming to Houston and wearing the Rockets red. Let me know in the comments if that is something that you guys are looking forward to. I personally think the sentiment is against. I am not for that trade and giving up a lot of our young guys for that to happen. But let me know in the comments what you think. Again, this has been another episode of Rockets Digest. And if you made it to the end of the video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button below. We'll see you on the next one.